You brought me into this. You talked me into this being ruined my life and no, but I'm just kidding. But so like I said, we've collected a bunch of questions over the last couple of weeks. Taping of this kind of got delayed. I was sick for about 2 weeks, couldn't even freaking talk. But we'll get started with a couple of questions. Our first one's our friend from Grow Strong, Remy, and he's wanting to know like how to lose fat but still gain strength as a strength athlete. I believe he does some powerlifting, does some strongman stuff. I think he did a little bit of CrossFit. I think he does a whole lot of everything. But
yeah, Remy. Yeah. What's up, Remy? This is actually kind of sometimes this could be actually a tricky question to answer because because typically what happens when you start to lose weight, and especially if you're carrying some fat on you, it is what it is. As you start to lose the fat, you start to lose leverage sometimes, and you see you can see a strength decrease. But at the same time, what the other thing you might see is a relative strength increase. It means there'll be some other things you'll be able to do a lot easier. But the first things you'll lose is like stuff like the squat, your bench, your pressing, some of your overheads. They start to struggle a little bit because you lose those leverages. But a lot of times, that sometimes if that's important to you, then you got to be willing to take those steps back. And as you lose the fat and you get to where you want to be, you start gaining your strength back as you start gaining muscle. But you got to put on that muscle, and that and that takes. But at the same time, you got to eat. But as you lose that fat, you got to learn how to eat right. And eating right in the beginning is just not eating right sometimes. It's eating right all the time. It depends. You gotta. That sometimes needs to be a sacrifice at first, but after a while, it's not a sacrifice. It becomes a way of life. Eating healthy. My saying is, if you eat healthy at least 90% of the time, you're gonna be fine. And what I mean by that is sometimes you might have call it a cheat day, call it whatever you want. Just I call it a break. Sometimes sometimes even the way I eat now, sometimes my break is I don't eat. That's my break, believe it or not. I skip a meal, because typically I don't skip meals. But that could be it just becomes a way of life. But just know you're gonna lose some strength initially, more than likely. I'm not saying for sure, because nothing's written in stone in this. But as you start to lose more fat, lose more weight, you lose leverage. So just be prepared for that. But it's not the end game. It's you have to put that back. Put the weight back in muscle. But that's going to be done from eating right, eating a lot. So hopefully that answers your question, Remy.
Next one we got from Derek Robinson. Believe he trains out at CrossFit Durango. And he says that I'm finding as I age, recovery is becoming a lot more important. What are some of your methods?
Well, it's as you start to get older, your recovery definitely suffers because you can't handle as much, but doesn't mean you can't still do it. I mean, shoot, I wish I was 45. If I was 10 years, even when I was 10 years younger, I could recover a lot better than I can now. So you have to constantly be adjusting. As you get older, you got to get smarter and smarter, and that's like every year. You'll notice differences as you get to a certain age. Every year is different. But just the things to remember is sometimes you might not be able to go heavy every week. If you don't feel it, you got to just play it by ear. Sometimes you might, instead of going up to 100%, you might go to 90%, maybe for a couple of singles. Sometimes you might not. Sometimes you might replace that with some volume work. But just remember, if you're going to use volume work, make sure you use your volume work in a rep scheme. That way you're not going too heavy. If you're trying to do, I see people, I'm going to do 85% 10 times. Well,
it's probably not your 85%.
That's probably not your 85%. And I wouldn't try that. Just lower the weight and get some work. I always say, like Louie always says, strength is built over time. It's the accumulation of work over time that makes you strong. So there's nothing wrong with stepping back sometimes and hitting that volume when you have to. You know, you got to be smart. You know, you might not be able to lift heavy every time. And also try, you know, maybe stuff like sled pulling, you know, in between your heavy workouts. You know, get the blood flowing through there. Not heavy sleds, just moving, repetition. You know, just getting a lot of work, getting the blood flow, getting your joints moving. Stuff like that's going to help you recover. Of course, you know, I mean, rolling out, you know, and stretching, and, you know, of course, make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's important to make sure you're eating well. The older you get, the better you got to eat, man. That's the bottom line. And the better you got to sleep. As you get older, we don't sleep as much. You know, and that's supposedly the way it is, but you got to make yourself sleep. Anytime you get a chance to take a nap, do it. You know, stuff like that helps you recover, man. Hope that answers it.
You touched a little bit on Louie Simmons, and I think it's an important story to get out there. You know, a lot of people want to know how you got your start. Conjugate, for a long time, Zia Strength Systems was pretty much the only gym doing conjugate stuff here in the Southwest, anyways. And now it's kind of caught up a little bit, but I think it's an interesting story. The way you kind of got your start working with Louie, and it really shows the difference of the times. You know, now we got social media. You can tag Louie and or Louie doesn't have his Instagram, but Westside or whatever. But I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah, Louie's not gonna do Instagram, so he's not gonna take all. Just actually, the way I got started doing conjugate was kind of it's kind of a pretty cool story. Actually, just to give you an idea what kind of person Louie is, he's actually a pretty cool guy, man. But anyway, so what happened was, you know, basically, I had my team. I had a damn big team, and we were doing, you know, anything. We were doing anything that I said we were doing. Basically, I'd read a Powerlifting USA magazine, and I'd find a training cycle from, you know, the best guys in the business, because that's all that came out in Powerlifting USA was the best guys, and of course we'd try and do their training programs. You know, it's progressive overload stuff with exact weights, no percentages, just exact weights of. So I'd try and figure out everybody's weights, and that would used to take me all about a week and stuff but I'd write everybody's programs for them, and based on what I learned. And that worked for a while. Don't get me wrong, it worked for a while. We got strong, you know, and then we got weak. I don't know. We did okay, you know, but it wasn't working for me, and I was always actually amazed at how strong the Russians were at the time, you know. And I go, what the hell are they doing different than we are? And they got to be doing something different. So I looked, and anywhere I could find information, and I found very minimal stuff until I was reading an article in Powerlifting USA one time that Louie Simmons did. And so so Louie screwed up and put his number at the bottom of the page. So guess who called it? I did. I called Louie, you know, and so I asked for him, and they put me on hold, and they brought him to the phone. He was at the gym. I could hear the weights clanking in the background, and he came to talk to me, and I asked him some questions, and Louie, you know, he answered the questions I had, you know. I actually wanted to have a conversation with him, but yeah, of course Louie didn't know me, you know, and who was I? Was I even able to, knowledgeable enough to even have a conversation with him at the time? So he told me what he knew, and I got off the phone, and I go, man, that's not enough. So I waited a couple of days, and I called him back, tried to put it together, and he talked to me again, and then I started calling him more frequently. And there was a point there, I'm not lying, and I don't know if Louie will admit this or not, if he can remember. There were times I'd hear him say, tell that guy I'm not here. And I go, shit, damn it. So finally he started talking to me more. And actually, believe it or not, we became friends over the phone. And we used to talk frequently. And then he said, you know what, Anthony? He goes, I want you to film your guys training, and I want you to send me a video of all you guys squatting. And so he did, and you know, he basically gave me some basic critique over the phone, but then he goes, you know what, I'm going to send you a video of how to squat, and I'm going to give you independent instructions, and I'm going to try and critique some of your guys by name, you know, 'cause we have to put our names on there and stuff. And basically he did. So Louie sent me a training video of bench and squat. And that's how we learned to squat, man. You know, believe it or not. Louie did that for us. So, you know, I thank Louie, you know, and that's the kind of person he is. People don't know. But that's the kind of person Louie is. Louie, you know, if you are after information enough, he'll figure it out. And if you're that hungry, he will help you. You know, I'm not saying you can go lift in his gym because, you know, that's invitation, but I'm saying the help's there and he knows, he's knowledgeable, man. You know, and I thank him in many, many ways, you know, because that's what Louie did for me. And, you know, I thank him. Great guy.
I wish you could find those videos.
Yeah, I know.
somewhere.
That'd be cool. I don't even remember what I did with them. I remember I gave them to Mike Adelman for a while. I don't remember. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll change it up a little bit here. We got a question from our buddy CrossFit Beaver. And basically he wants to ask how to get to your level of machismo.
Beef, how do you get to my level of machismo? Well, basically, don't stop what you're doing, Beef. You started doing this, keep going. Don't stop. Train all the time. Train right. Eat smart. Eat right, you know. And I can promise you, when you get to be my age, you will be one macho motherfucker.
You kind of answered a couple of these these questions already. How are you so jacked at 65?
Oh, I'm so jacked at 65. First off, I'm 55. I'm not 65 yet, but
55
hopefully,
motherfucker.
55 motherfucker. I go, but when I'm 65, I hope to be in, you know, in decent shape. You know, God willing. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I have my health still. But you know, basically, you know, don't stop doing what you're doing. Like I just told Beeve, you know, keep doing it. You know, especially if you love it. You know, make it a way of life. Make it important. Eat right. You know, I don't drink much. You know, I mean, once a week. On the weekends, I might have a couple of glasses of wine or.
We'll tell you about his bachelor party later.
No. Like, a couple of beers, you know, on the weekends. You know what I mean? And you know, it all depends where I'm at in training. You know, but that's it. You know, be smart about what you're doing. Don't stop. Don't stop. Train smart. You know, you always constantly making changes. You know what I mean? Be smart. Don't kill yourself. Sleep. That's it, man.